and whether that's through cyber attacks or the development of new technology. Our allies and our adversaries are looking at the same future we are, and they are not waiting to make these investments. If we don't share China or Russia's vision for the future, then we must fulfill our moral obligation to establish the critical development and use of technology in warfare and security. Global democracy's future is at stake. To meet these new national security challenges, we need new solutions. And to develop those new solutions, we need the participation of new innovators. We need all hands on deck. Improving our intellectual diversity by working with non-traditional partners like academic and early stage venture companies will be necessary to improving the DoD's technological problem-solving capability. New York has those innovators. You're here today. Our state is home to nationally recognized research institutions like the Air Force Research Laboratory in Rome, some of the best universities in the world, and some of the most promising commercial tech startups in the country. To make the most of what our state has to offer, we have to stop operating in silos. Too often, the commercial tech startups built to meet consumer needs aren't aware of the ways that their products could be used or adapted to solve the unique government and national security problems the DoD is addressing. And even if they are aware and do want to adapt their products to meet the military's needs, they can face nearly insurmountable hurdles in the process. Adaptation for the defense or national security market often requires carrying out expensive long-term research and finding resources to move from R&D to product, and that is something that takes time, effort, and resources. In many ways, companies will need to access classified spaces and networks, adopt specialized best practices that require extra resources and expertise, and learn to navigate the complex landscape of DoD regulation and government procurement. That's why NSIN works to build a network that helps us bridge the civil-military divide, and that's why it's critical. NSIN ensures the country's best problem solvers can address the country's most pressing national security challenges by supporting new dual-use startups that bring the DoD and research institutions together with commercial tech ventures. This will help close the gaps in knowledge and resources that keep potential partnerships from forming. NSIN does this by working with the venture and investment community to facilitate DoD customer discovery, enable national security product market fit analysis, fund initial prototyping for early stage ventures, match early stage technology with specific DoD capability gaps, organize entrepreneurial teams around extant DoD lab technology to enable commercialization, and connect early stage ventures with non-dilutive capital sources from within the DoD. And we've seen this model works. Direct Kinetic Solutions and the NSIN Defense Innovation Accelerator are working on a battery with a lifespan of up to 100 years, based on technology that originated from the Army Research Laboratory, Adelphi. Python, a wearable device company that planned to target medical or commercial customers, is now working to meet military needs to control drones and other software that has won more than $2 million in SBIRs. And here in New York, the NSIN predecessor, MD5, held a hackathon at the Brooklyn Navy Yard a few years ago, which led to the creation of technology to assist first responders and disaster relief operations. New York State already hosts incredible anchor institutions in both industry and academia, and has historically led the world in the development of new technology. But continuing to work with NSIN, we can lead the next era of innovation and realize our full potential as a national hub of innovation for defense and government technology. So let's use today to ask each other big questions. How can we build better connections between the ideas of innovators and the needs and resources of the DoD? How do we create a defense innovation hub in New York and make New York the leader when it comes to new innovation technologies and startups? How can we attract and retain the best talent? And how can we ensure that this development happens not just in New York City, but up and down our state? With the group that we've gathered here today, I know that we can find the answers to help New York lead the nation in our world for a smarter and safer future. I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out of today's discussions, and I want all of you to know that I will continue to champion your work and shared efforts in innovation and security in Washington. And now I'd be happy to turn it over for Q&A.
Thank you so much, Senator, for those comments and for those remarks. Just want to start also by thanking again the coordinators for this New York Defense Innovation Summit, and to call out the good people at the National Security Innovation Command and Dan Madden, who really was instrumental in all of this. As was mentioned, my name is James Hendon. I serve as Commissioner for the New York City Department of Veteran Services. Also, as a U.S. Army Reservist, I'm a member of the 5th Innovation. Questions, Madam Senator, what role is technology playing in the U.S. competition globally, and how does that translate to places like New York? I believe you're on mute, ma'am.
Okay, so the truth is, our allies face the same challenges that we face. And, we are in a space race of sorts. In the way we competed with access to space with Russia and China, we are competing today with global actors such as Russia and China on issues of AI, on issues of cyber, on issues of cyber tools, on issues of cyber defense. This is the landscape on which technology competes today. And so we really have to understand that if we want to compete and not be eclipsed and actually not place our country at more risk from a national security perspective, we need to innovate, and we need the best and brightest globally, focused entirely on fixing these problems and to make sure that the U.S. is at the forefront of innovation, discovery, and new technology.
So, ma'am, this is where we need to compete. Just to drill down to this state, why is New York the right place to turn for technology?
New York is home to so many of the best institutions in the country, and we also already collaborate with the DoD. We have a lot of defense manufacturers in our state. We have a history in manufacturing, and we have a history in innovation. New York City, in particular, is poised to be among the next Silicon Valley in terms of innovation and tech startups. Upstate New York, we are at the forefront of semiconductor manufacturing. And so we have not only Global Foundries, but we have SUNY Nanotech. And so we are truly, I think, best positioned to lead on these issues. We also are home to West Point, which has the Cyber Academy, which, as you know, we are developing the next generation military leaders to be at the forefront of cyber. So not only are we creating the talent for the future, but our schools and institutions, from RPI to SUNY Tech to all of the technological schools in our state, and we have many, we are really well positioned to create the talent and then to build that technology right in New York.
And I just want to go, you just spoke on New York broadly, and you spoke of tech, but just to drill down a little more on tech, if you will, what role can the tech ecosystem, the tech community specifically in New York, play in national security and in international competition?
So we have a hub in New York, particularly in New York City, we are a tech hub. And we have an ecosystem that funds technology. We have a lot of VCs. We have a lot of angel networks. We have a lot of banks, even traditional funders, that are eager to get into this space. So we have the tech community ready to absorb the cost and the investment to create platforms for this new technology. And so the combination of that business community with the academic community and the military community is win-win-win. We also have the largest number of veterans in the country in New York. And so we have so many veteran-owned businesses. Some of our biggest startups are veteran-owned businesses that have been in combat, and so they know what tools they need to better perform. I remember certainly in the early days of Iraq and Afghanistan, we had a real crisis of having the right body armor. A lot of that was created in New York. I remember we had problems making sure our Humvees had the right kind of armor for roadside bombs. We created some of those solutions here in New York. I've been to manufacturing facilities to make radio technology more useful for the battlefield. We created those in New York. So the combination we have with manufacturers and veterans to build the solutions for our war fighter is extraordinary. And so that can only grow because of the experience that our war fighters already have and the fact they come to live here in New York.
And then, how can we support and encourage young people excited about STEM and national security?
One of the challenges we have with recruiting young people is not all families have a tradition of military service, and not all families have a tradition of manufacturing. And so the best thing we can do is create more STEM in our high schools and in our grade schools. We know that 8 out of 9 of the fastest growing industries require proficiency in STEM, but a lot of our high schoolers don't have it. So what we have to do is start building that interest in grade school when kids are young. So, teach the 3rd grader to build a robot, teach the 5th grader to build a drone. I mean, these are the kinds of things that our schools can do. And so we have to just keep investing in STEM. We also have to consider that 89% of New York City tech companies say that diversity brings tech talent to New York City, which we know is fundamental to how we succeed long term. New York City ranks 1st overall amongst 50 global cities for its ability to attract and support women entrepreneurs, and almost 50% of New York City's technological workers are foreign born. So we have a lot to learn. But we also have lots to build on in New York. So we know how important it is. My experience in getting diverse communities to focus on STEM is asking them to focus on STEM. And just the more you call them to do these careers, and we've got great not-for-profits that are helping. For example, in the Bronx, we have a not-for-profit called Perscola, and they've already trained and filled 800 workers into tech companies from other careers. So we can do this and continue to grow the base of people who want to work in STEM and want to work in tech. And we have the experience to get that right.
And ma'am, I just want to just speak to you as far as being on both the Intelligence Committee and on the Armed Services Committee. I believe the only one of 2 senators who's in that position. Can you speak to your evolution to where you are on several of these issues now, as far as looking at how to better advance us in this new millennium, and with that New York lens that you bring to the table by being a senator from this state?
Well, we've had, and I'll speak to only open sessions, but we've had a lot of hearings in the Armed Services Committee as well as in the Intelligence Committee in open sessions. And the fact that we have been hit so hard by cyber attacks from bad actors over the last year, it is shocking. To hear the heads of our military say that we have blind spots when it comes to national security is frightening. And so I am dedicated to doing two things. One, to making sure we have the resources and the mission to be at the technological forefront of cyber security and cyber defense. And two, to make sure that we start recruiting and training and reaching out to our young people to be the future cyber warriors, cyber defenders, and cyber innovators. I'm actually working on a cyber academy because what I've noticed is that our armed services do exceedingly well because they have the service academies. I'm on the board of visitors for West Point, so I've seen the talent that goes to that school. We need a dedicated service academy just for cyber and technology so that we can train those young people to go to all areas of government, because we need a whole of government approach. We need some kids to go to commerce. We need some kids to go to DOJ. We need some kids to go to Intel. We need some kids to go to NSA. We need some kids to go to the armed services. And so if you had a cyber academy where we get the greatest teachers in the world, the greatest curriculum in the world, we will be able to, again, create the innovators to bring us where we need to go in the future. So those are two commitments I have, and I think they're equally as important. But this is a mission that I know New York can meet because we have the tech entrepreneurs already. We have the veteran community that is poised to lead this business community. We have the resources in terms of the startup community, the angel networks, the VCs and the banks. So we have everything we need. And then we have the educational institutions, which are, again, state of the art in our state. So that's what I see, and that's what I'm committed to.
Ma'am, something you said just made me think. In my line of work, I always tell, veterans, service isn't over. We still need you. There's still a role for you here. There's still more you can do.
Absolutely.
You're in a conference right now with people who are friends from so many communities who all care about advancing these defense issues through that New York context, because these are mostly New Yorkers at this New York Defense Innovation Summit. What can we do to help you do what you're doing to advance this on your plane? Like, how can we be of value to you in our own respective corners? Like I said, we already do something, but I believe all of us can do more. And we appreciate people look at the success or the press release, et cetera. They don't realize the hard work that goes into things. And we recognize you've been putting in a lot of hard work here. How can we be of value to your efforts?
So I think there's a couple of things. We should continue to identify and connect with rapidly accelerating technology with optimal product mission fit at the Department of Defense so that our best problem solvers can be put to the test with some of the country's most challenging national security issues. The NSIN partners with universities and research partners by collaborating on hacking for defense courses, hackathons, acceleration activities, internships, fellowships, hiring opportunities, and bespoke joint programming like the New York Defense Innovation Summit and advances in the NSIN mission. In New York State, NSIN participants include Syracuse University, Cornell, NYU, Rochester Institute of Technology, Air Force Research Laboratory in Rome, Columbia University, and more. And some of the most exciting activities that they've done in the past include the Hacking for Defense, the H4D, at Cornell and NYU, the National Security Academic Accelerator Pilot at NYU, X-Force Fellowship opportunities for students at NYU, Columbia, and Syracuse University. So these are just a thumbnail of the things that you're already doing. And my suggestion is just keep doing it and keep raising it up and keep your connections strong with our defense agencies and intelligence agencies, and keep putting yourself out there as the source for solutions, because you truly are.
Madam Senator, thank you so much for your time and just for your wisdom and leadership here, and we appreciate you.
Well, thank you, James, for your service. I'm so grateful, and I'm so grateful for all our participants for their service. And you are quite right when you say we can continue to serve. And I talk to my kids about that all the time, that, if we're here on this planet to do one thing, it's to serve and help others. And I just appreciate the dedication of the people on this call.
That's
Completely
fantastic.
Yep.
James, Senator Gillibrand, thank you so much. I feel like that's a great spirit to enter into the rest of this conversation.